has a stipulation in his contract that says he has to study film? Is it 4 hours a week or a day? One of them.
I
It's
mean,
bad
yeah,
either way.
yeah.
When you got to put that stipulation in somebody's contract, that's a problem. That's like somebody giving us a job and saying, "All right, I need y'all to actually watch the games before y'all talk about them." Like, damn, wait, hold on, what you trying to say? Trying to say I don't know how to do my job? Is that what we saying? It's a bad look on Kyler, really. But what do you think about it, Walt?
Well, I'm just actually sitting up here, just kind of reading up on some of his stuff of like what's, I guess, in the contract. It is, I think it is 4 hours a day. But I'm
Just
just kind of
uh,
like just looking at
better
what he's
read.
saying. He's saying like I'm.
Hey, read what John says at the bottom on the ticket. Read that for
Wait, what?
me. Read it.
It says it says Kyler Murray better read the fine print on his new contract.
Hey,
That boy gonna
hey,
go
we did
broke.
talk about this last week with last show with Jamarcus Russell, man. It's like,
Yeah,
listen,
yes, we
I
did.
understand these things are petty. I understand that it's not cool to be getting fined for petty things. Well, they're in your contract. You got to read that thing, man. You
Dude,
got to.
I ain't never heard nothing like that. I've never heard that.
But you know
I've,
what's so crazy is just like I said, reading one of his quotes. My fault, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it
no,
says
go ahead.
read one of his quotes. It's saying that Murray said that I'm not one of those one of those guys that's going to sit there and kill myself watching film. I don't sit there for 24 hours and break down this team and that team and watch every game because in my head I see so much. Now, with him saying that, I'm like, bro, okay, I get that you're a very skilled player, but going back to my like pee wee days and like high school days, bro, I'm like studying the playbook or whatever, film study was
Yeah,
part of just that was just part of day one, regardless though. So it's just like you might be able to see something, but you also have to be able to learn and get prepared for it as well. You feel me? In my opinion. But I mean, I get that he might be able to see it before actually studying it, I guess. But at the end of the day, bro, you still got to do some type of film study, man, regardless of what I'm saying. If it's just for a couple of hours, just you studying that team just for that week. But bro, you definitely got to do some type of film study for sure, man. Like
go ahead, John. What you got on
I mean, that's the thing is these guys are studying film on you. You think you ain't got tells and ticks like like what poker players, right? They try to read each other. Like you think you're that good that you ain't got tells? Like no, you got tells. And these guys, you might be better than them, but if they know your tells, they're like, oh, he just, he snapped it with his left foot back instead of his right foot. You know what I mean? He handed off to his left, or hand off to his right. Like, and we know. So now, even though he's faster than me and quicker than me and better at all this, if I'm over there already, it don't matter because I'm waiting for him. And like that's the same thing, man. The greatest quarterbacks, sure, when they were young, they could do all these things and blah blah blah. But eventually, you slow down. You're Ben Roethlisberger. The game you ain't just running people over. Cam Newton, you ain't just running people over. You ain't taking shrugging people off and throwing. No, you have to learn the game. You got to know the game. And so like the only way to actually have a long career in this at a high level is to watch tape, man. You got to know these guys inside and out. Like when you watch one of the greatest things to watch was Kobe and Peyton Manning when they do those what was it, like the spotlight, and they have like the little triangle of light coming down on the player, and they're fun to watch, but also like you'll learn something because like dang, these guys' mind goes deep. Listening to LeBron break down a play from 8 years ago, listening to Aaron Rodgers break down a play from 10 years ago, it's like, oh, I saw that play 6 years ago. I know what they're running. Like, wait, what? Like, are you kidding me? And that don't happen by accident. It happens by watching tape. Now, what I thought someone said 4 hours a day. Is it really 4 hours a day or 4 hours a week?
I think it was. I think they said four. It says that he does 4 hours a day on his own, independently studying. Which I mean, I'm guessing that's what he does on his own. But I'm guessing they want him to do more film study with the team as well.
I see. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Well, that would make sense though, because as the quarterback, you might see, like I was joking about earlier, you might see Jalen Ramsey impress, and you like run a quick slant or be the decoy. You got to let your receivers, your tight ends, your linemen. All right, Bobby Wagner. If his back foot, if his left foot is forward and his right foot is back, 9 times out of 10 he's blitzing. You gotta let people know this stuff because you get embarrassed like you did in the wild card round against the Rams this past year.
Yeah, and to that point, like, let's just say you are Superman, right? But let's just say you have all your receivers ain't Superman. You got DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green. I get that, but
So
um,
you don't have DeAndre for the first 6 games, but he got Hollywood.
yeah, but
He
I'm
got
saying, yeah,
Hollywood, bro.
and I think he had Christian Kirk last year or something, or
Yeah.
yeah.
He's in Jacksonville now. Yeah.
But let's just take like the Seattle goal line thing, right? Like, okay, sure, they should have given it to Marshawn. Boohoo, they didn't. All right. But like if that receiver knows, like, listen, you're coming inside, all you got to do is you ain't got to even catch the pass. You just got to box your guy out, right? Like
Pretty much.
you see Malcolm Butler moving like that. You got to tell your guy like, hey, whatever. You got to say something to your guy, right? It's not so much about even you, right? I can make all the throws, right? But can your receiver get to that spot? You have to know the game inside and out. That way you can help your receiver get the best out of his game too, because not every receiver is a Pro Bowl receiver. And so that's the whole point, is you're the leader. Sure, let's just pretend you have all talent in the world and you're the greatest quarterback of all time. Sure. But if you can't help your other guys be in the position to succeed, you're not a great quarterback. And that's the whole point of quarterbacking and point guarding, is making sure everyone else succeeds. And so I'm not saying he didn't do these things. Kyle Murray probably does watch more tape than the average quarterback. I'm not saying he doesn't. But it's kind of telling. It's interesting why they would put this in his contract. I agree with that.
And like I was telling you guys earlier, I think, like for him, he's like the winningest quarterback in high school football history. He did what he did at Oklahoma. And, he was a dog in baseball. I think they say he's one of the one of the only athletes to be drafted top 10 in the MLB and NFL draft. So, you have the athletic ability. And I think that might be his greatest downfall. When you are used to being the best athlete on the field, it is hard when somebody like, yeah, you ain't no more. You're not. You're not that guy. Study some film. Go read up on the Rams defense. Go read up on Tampa's defense. Hell, read up on your own defense to see what you can, help the DNs and the DBs with. And I think that's really what it is, man. But that
Yeah,
is a tell sign when they gotta put that in your contract and they
yeah.
let it get out to the world to know that it's in your contract.
A lot of guys struggle with staying in shape. A lot of guys, struggle with reading tape. Whatever. I'm not trying to do a smart Dr. Seuss here, but like, so a lot of guys also struggle with being able to change, man. Like Lonzo Ball got to the NBA and they were like, dude, you got to change that shot, man. You got to change that shot.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow got to the NFL and they said, you can't be throwing sidearm. And he kept throwing sidearm and they were like, all right, well, you can throw sidearm, just not in this league. And Lonzo, like, some guys, they're not willing to change. LeBron learned to shoot threes. Like, when LeBron came in the league, man, it was the Danny Grangers, the Rudy Gays. Like, those guys got passed up because like they got left behind. And I'm not saying they were ever as great as LeBron, but like they got left behind because the mid-range, unless you're extremely efficient, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant level efficient from mid-range, the mid-range died. And like, you have to be willing to adapt. And all right, buddy. And like, it just, you see great players who aren't willing to adapt, aren't willing to stay in shape, and aren't willing to watch tape. And those are the guys who, at the end of their careers, you're like, man, what happened? How'd they never win a ring? How they?
And I was just about to say, just to add on to that, I completely agree. I mean, that's just the difference between the greats and not the greats. The Tom Brady's, the Brett Favre's, what I'm saying, the Peyton Manning's. Those guys study. They study offense, defense, special teams, all of it, because they wanted to know the entire game, because they wanted to have a much bigger advantage when it comes to Sunday, I should say. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, your talent level can only take you so far. You know what I'm saying? Physical wise, but your mental, that's gonna take you a far. That's gonna take you far. in NFL and in the NBA, I should say. So if you got it up here, bro, that's why you got the Kevin Garnett's and the LeBrons that they long longevity because they're smart. Like John was saying, they learn how to adapt to the NBA due to how it was changing over the years. Like he said, LeBron ain't had no damn shot when he first came in. Now he got a shot. You know what I'm saying? So it's just pretty much just learning how to adapt to the different rule changes and things like that.